Hi, everyone. So today we're going to talk about a few issues. Um, you might have already seen a post that I posted today. It's actually initially I wasn't sure if the my microphone would work or not. So when I'm doing screen sharing, I've been using an application called Vidu. Um, Now this they've recently done some updating and stuff from my understanding. And it after that happened, I noticed that my microphone wouldn't work. And when I clicked on screen share with the video camera box in the corner, the box wouldn't work either. So, quick message to Vidu, you might want to check out your application and make sure it's working because for me it wasn't. And I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but if I was doing something wrong, it's not user friendly enough. Um, okay, so now we're going to talk about what this video actually is about. Uh, Oh, and one more thing before we actually get started. So the video that I posted, it's actually of the video I posted prior to this video, probably about half an hour ago, is a video of my Facebook. Again, in typical Friday fashion, my Facebook feed absolutely nothing to do in northwestern Ontario. All events have been replaced with advertisement, recipes, and just garbage, to be honest. Um, so, in typical fashion, like I said before, I'm posting and talking about different issues that exist in our community. And today I'm going to talk about a continuation of the situation with the OPP and um, some things going on in Manitoba. So, um, I I previously talked about a situation where the OPP had opened fire on this guy who was in the middle of a mental health breakdown. And this guy was apparently wielding a knife, and the OPP opened fired on him, and he ended up dying as a result. When I first started posting about this, I didn't realize that I knew a member of the family. Small world. Um, I knew her from Manitoba, and um, I just want to take a moment to say that my heart goes out to her and her family because nobody deserves to go through um, what I'm sure they're going through right now. Um, in her post, she she talks about mental illness, how there needs to be more resources. Um, Now, this individual that I'm talking about, the person that I know in Manitoba, she's experienced in the field of social work, and um, to lose somebody in such a violent manner, and knowing that there had to be other options, I'm sure is extremely heartbreaking. And on top of just the regular heartbreak of losing somebody, knowing that that person um, passed away in the manner they did. Um, so that being said, I want to talk about, you know what? No, while we're I'm mentioning this, I'm going to read her post, and she did say she wanted it shared. So I am going to share it. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to say the last name. I'm just going to spell it out because I know if I say it, I might butcher it. And I do not want to do that. So The guy who passed away, his name was Nash, and his last name is spelled Prystie. And the post reads, it's a post from the Kenora Minor News. The family of a 39-year-old man who was shot and killed earlier in the month says they are devastated by the sudden loss. And in addition to asking for support, they're also looking to create a new conversation about mental health in the community, period. Nash was shot and killed by Ontario Provincial Police in Kenora on March 9th after officers were called to respond to a person in crisis north of town. According to Ontario Special Investigations Unit, which is now formally investigating the circumstance of the matter, Nash had a weapon. There was an interaction, and officers discharged conducted energy weapons before shooting their firearms at the man. So they discharged tasers before opening fire with their regular guns. Now, the family of the deceased says that it is navigating the emotional and financial challenges that come with saying goodbye, and that he suffered with paranoid schizophrenia, a serious mental health condition that he faced with strength every day. Mental illness is often invisible, complex, and deeply challenging, not only for those experiencing it, but also for people who love them, writes Nash's father in the family's GoFundMe page. Nash was deeply loved by his family, friends, and everybody who had a chance to know him. He brought moments of kindness, humor, and connection that will never be forgotten. While we mourn his loss, we also want to remember the person he was beyond his struggles, someone who mattered deeply and will always hold a place in our hearts. The family adds that they're hoping to bring awareness to the seriousness of mental health in our community moving forward, noting that Nash reaches out or Nash reached out for help during times when he needed it the most, and his experience reflects the gaps that still exist in our system. We share this in hopes that it encourages change, compassion, and better support for those facing similar struggles. His father continued in the fundraiser. In honor of Nash, a portion of the funds raised will be donated to the Schizophrenia Society of Canada, supporting research, advocacy, and resources for individuals and families affected by schizophrenia. We're asking for support to help cover funeral and memorial expenses so that we can give Nash the respectful farewell he deserves. Any contribution, no matter the size, will help ease the financial burden on our family during this incredible, difficult time. If you are unable to donate, sharing this page and keeping our family in your thoughts means just as much. So, there's a couple of things I want to touch on with this post. And again, being respectful to the family. So, Statistics Canada says roughly 1 in 5 Canadians experience mental health issues or illness each year, with 1 in 3 affected over their lifetime. So, if you have 3 friends, one of you will be probably affected with some sort of mental health issues during the course of your lifetime. That is a huge, huge number of people that are affected with mental health issues. And 1 in 5 Canadians experiencing mental health issues each year. So Nash was not alone with his mental health issues. He was Mental health is such a commonplace um such a commonplace issue, but it is so stigmatized in our society. I think one of the reasons that um I really want to talk about this is because there has to be better supports for individuals dealing with mental health issues. Stress, trauma, these are all things that affect our mental health. And, you know, there are so many jobs out there that um, are high stress jobs: law enforcement, teachers, people in the social work field, you know. And I mean, if you ever heard of somebody who's experienced burnout, who just cannot do what they used to be able to do because they just cannot mentally or physically just do it anymore because of the stress involved, because of the trauma that they have endured. There's also vicarious trauma where, you're constantly reading about this negativity or hearing about it. I'm sure counselors and therapists here like experience this all the time. Like these can lead to all these things can lead to mental health issues, and yet our society stigmatizes individuals that are experiencing high stress situations. Um, it's it's very it's very disturbing when you hear something like this occurring because from my perspective, there should have been other options. Back when I was in university, one of my profs told a story about a family member who was in the middle of a mental health breakdown. And during his mental health breakdown, he couldn't verbalize. Like one of the side effects of him going into crisis was he couldn't verbalize. So he's in the bathroom of Timmy's, and he's starting to it freaks some people out, right? And the staff, I think, was trying to get him out of there because he'd been in there for quite a while, freaking people out. Police were called. Things escalated. I mean, he wasn't um from what I was told, he was never physical with anybody, but police, law enforcement, viewed his actions or lack of conversation as threatening. And the guy ended up in intensive care. And um, that shouldn't have been the case because that was traumatic for his family. It was traumatic for him. I'm sure it was traumatic for the police as well. Like, there has to be more conversation, more resources, uh, and a better understanding of mental health in our society. Now, getting back to getting back to what transpired with the OPP. One of the things that I kind of red flagged with this whole situation. Well, there was a number of things I kind of red flagged. First of all, um, the response from the officer or alleged officer that was uh, who commented on the original post, and to my friend in Winnipeg. Um, well, I don't actually even know if she's in Winnipeg anymore, but she knows who she is, and um, again, my heart goes out to you with everything that you're experiencing. And if you want to talk about things, um, I'm only a phone call away. My You can reach out to me through Facebook or just text me or call me. Like, my number hasn't changed either. Um, I'm totally here for you if you want to talk. Um, the OPP's post on the original post, when I first found out what happened and didn't know who it was or didn't make the connection, um, it was concerning. And but now it's even more concerning because they did use the taser guns. Now, I initially, when the post was made, it didn't reflect that, and then it was updated. Now, one thing with tasers is, and see, this is why, like, it's very hard to determine like what the only people that really know what happened is the people who were there, which unfortunately, oh, that's wrong. Fortunately, although PP are still still there, it's still here, but it is unfortunate that that individual isn't anymore. And I don't know if there was anybody else there. From my understanding, there is a video online, or was online, since been taken down, because there I did find a link to it, but the link doesn't work. So either OPP took it down, or but that would indicate somebody else was there, and I honestly, I don't know if the link was even legit. Um, but in regards to the tasers, one of the things that is um, one of the things people, specifically law enforcement, have to keep in mind with the tasers is when somebody gets tasered, their muscles can lock up. So if somebody's tasering somebody and then say tells them to drop whatever they're holding, they physically may not be able to. Never mind the fact that their central nervous system just got a shock. They might not even understand what you're telling them to do because they're in shock, right? But in the event that they're able to comprehend, their muscles might not work to be able to drop whatever they're holding. Now, in this case, they were the guy was Nash was holding a knife. At least, again, from my understanding. Sorry, give me one moment here. I'm just pulling something up. Now, you know how I said that muscles can lock up? There's actually a term for it. It's called neuromuscular incapacitation. And it's when muscles lock up, and they can also involuntary contract as well. And um, I actually did a little bit of research on this because when I heard this whole situation, like my mind has been running over this, mulling this over for the last like week, because something like this should not occur. Like, police police are there to serve and protect, right? But unless there was somebody else that has not been mentioned in that room when Nash was shot, who are the police protecting? Were they protecting him from himself because That can't be the case. Are they there? Like, was there somebody else there? Because that has not been mentioned. And um, then there's the whole thing with the comment from the OPP that, at least I think it was an OPP officer on the Facebook chat. Um he identified himself as an officer. And he said that they would shoot at the torso and not the limbs, because the limbs um could it torso's a bigger target. And my thought with that was, okay, that's very disconcerting that that is the rationale why you chose the torso. Because if somebody's 10 feet away from you or 5 feet away from you, and you've got projectile weapons versus him with a knife, and you can't shoot his knee when you're only a few feet away from him, essentially, what are you doing with a firearm? And why are you allowed to carry a firearm on the street? There's that. And then one of the comments was made on how he could have easily bled out even if they shot at the leg. Yeah, there's a possibility an artery could have been hit, but you have a greater chance of survival when a leg is um, shot versus your torso. Your torso's full of like organs, and you can't exactly put a tourniquet on it, right? With your leg, you could put a tourniquet on it, and hopefully somebody will get there before you bleed out, right? Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and that wasn't their mandate, which, again, very disconcerting. Um, in another post, I will show you guys the post, the comments that that officer made. I did find it. Um, so I will show it to you guys in another post. Again, I'll have to screen share, because and during the screen share, I'm not sure if I'll be able to um, read it out to you guys or anything. So don't be surprised if it pops up on the screen, and you guys can just like pause it and read it over if need be. When we're talking about officers on the streets and um, protecting individuals carrying firearms, you know, the individuals that they are dealing with might have mental health issues, but I think it's really important to touch on that officers might also have health issues. They deal with so much stuff, and this isn't a hit at them, okay? It's not. But the reality is, somebody is now gone, and his family is now mourning the loss, where there should have been more supports in place. First of all, so he didn't get to that point where he was in crisis. And second of all, better, like, the call said that he was in crisis. So right away, mental health supports should have been there. And I don't know, maybe they were sitting in the car, maybe they were in the background, I don't know. But there should have been better alternatives than shooting somebody down. And when when guns started firing, I see, this is the part I don't understand. Why didn't somebody call it out and say, I'm taking the shot, so that it wasn't a firing squad essentially on this poor guy. I I don't understand why it took multiple officers to I don't understand why what happened, why it happened the way it happened. Um, but that being the case, like there's nothing you can do about it right now. But I do want to read something to you guys that I found today, and I thought it's so incredibly interesting in lieu of what we're talking about. Now, this is from a post I found from MGEU. That is a union um, that that deals with well, a lot of government employees actually. So it says at a conference today, MGU President Kyle Ross announced the results of a survey of members who work in corrections. The results are grim, showing alarming levels of burnout, mental illness, chronic short chronic short staffing, and the impact of overcrowding in Manitoba jails. Sorry, I shouldn't have said mental illness. I should have said mental health issues. So burnout is a mental health issue. And so I mean like but so that's exactly what I'm saying though. Like you don't have to suffer from schizophrenia or some major illness to have mental health issues. There are so many people dealing with this out there, and a lot of them are actually serving the public as well. And some of it gets treated, some of it goes undetected. Well, some of it people don't seek help for. And if you don't seek help for whatever you're dealing with, that is when something more serious can occur. It is so important to be able to acknowledge if you have issues, and if you have to take a step away from whatever it is to do it, to take care of yourself. um i think I think I might just leave it there for today. I'm going to, in another post probably tomorrow, I'm going to post that post that I commented on, that was on Facebook with, sorry, that's my dog in the background. um I'll make another post showing that Facebook post when I have time. Anyways, you guys have a good night. If you don't hear from me this weekend, don't be surprised. I have a busy weekend planned, and I may post, I may not, but if not, I definitely will on Monday. Well, I guess I shouldn't say definitely at this point. Things happen, and but I'll post as soon as I can again. You have a good night, everybody, and have a good weekend.